All right, another update on the 6% Brummbär build. Started working on road wheels and finished up the road wheel axle hubs. These right here, I was waiting on the DOM tubing to arrive so I can put these in. All these are put together, they're all tacked together. I didn't want to weld them hard in until after I'd done a test mount on the floor and made sure everything lines up like it's supposed to, and then at that point in time I'll go back through and weld everything in. Plus I'm going to weld some little strips to cover that up so everything take care. I did call it, I don't know if it's inexperience or just a bad idea. The DOM tubing itself is 1¼ inch outside diameter. I drilled the holes. I drilled 1 5/16 diameter. That way when I was lining them up and trying to get the shafts and everything parallel and perpendicular, I had a little playroom, mostly because my drill press, well, it's not the greatest, it's a Harbor Freight drill press, doesn't exactly drill perfectly round holes. Probably didn't need to do that, and it probably made lining the tubes in there a little bit more complicated than it should have been. But all 8 of these are done. Just wait for when I start placing them on the whole floor to make sure everything's correct. Started the road wheels. I broke my Harbor Freight ring roller earlier this week, so I only had 9 rims rolled out. I wasn't terribly happy with the rims that it was rolling. I don't know if you can see it. There's a twist in the Z-axis of the roll, and it didn't matter what width of steel, it always had a Z. Now the thinner the steel, the less axis, the less twist it had. And what it amounts to is the central core of that ring roller. Everything is steel except for this one piece that keeps everything aligned, and it's plastic. So the plastic, was stretching as rolling the ring, and that allowed the rollers to get unaligned, causing the twist. I was trying, when I was rolling, I'd go through one way, flip it around, do it the other way, and that all it did is actually made it so that the twist went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In hindsight, it probably would have been better if I just kept it in one direction. It would have been easier probably to try and beat back out instead of what it is right now. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. I'm hoping when the rings that I've already rolled go back through a good roller, it'll get the twist in the Z-axis out. I really don't want to have to chunk the steel, but that's my hope. I knew I wasn't happy with the rims, but I've got 4 road wheels that are not really practice road wheels. They're just display. They hang on the back side of a Brummbär. Had a little rack for spare road wheels, and so that's 4 road wheels, 2 sets. So I've been all throughout this process, I've been using those road wheels as my practice dummies. So I started off just using clamps like this and secured the rim around the center hub, and then I was using the square to make sure everything was lined, and I really didn't. That was really a pain. And then I thought, well, I'll just sit there and I'll put it on the anvil and start hammering and trying to beat the twist out. And that started to work, except I started breaking my tack welds because I was hammering on it so much. And that will work a little bit, but you can see it doesn't roll nice and clean because, again, it's got a wobble in there. The next thing I thought, well, I'll try. I know I don't like these rims, but I want to try to do work on different processes on how to weld these things together. I thought, you know what? Well, I'll still use these clamps to secure the rim around, and then I'll cut some slugs to. Sorry, I'm still wearing the gloves because some of the stuff's a little bit warm still. I just finished doing some welding on it. But I take these slugs, I cut and hold them right there, then take the C-clamp and then sandwich everything in there together so that everything's the right distance. And that was working really good, and I'm like, wow, it's faster, and I know everything's, the center portion of the wheel is going to be nice and centered, And then I almost was all the way around, and I realized that I wasn't twisting the Z-axis out of the rim. I was actually taking and bending the center portion. And you see that? You know, now it's got a twist in it. Again, these are practice wheels. The process that I did that second one is probably a good process for welding them together. However, it's just, again, the twist in the Z-axis of the rims is really, well, it's a problem. But I got those done. This is the pile of guts from the Harbor Freight ring roller. I tore it apart, and I was gonna, try to make different, take it and use its parts to make a better one. And you can see right here, this is the center core. There's two rollers that are counter rotating. They're on gears, and the top one went through here. The other one was down here. Then this third one had this. There's a roller in there, and this was in here, and you screwed it in and out, and that rotated that to give it the different distances away from the rollers to change it and everything. But you can see it right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's split, and again, all that was is just as it is rolling the metal. This is plastic, is forcing the rollers out. Eventually, the plastic just deformed enough or fatigued enough that it split. If this piece had actually been even just cheap metal, it'd been a nice little ring roller. It worked really well. It was very inexpensive, but again, I thought about taking this to a machine shop and saying, hey, can you machine this out of a chunk of whatever, inexpensive steel? But again, even a low ball figure on that would be more expensive than I'm willing to pay. So I decided that I was just going to make my own ring roller. So this is the start of it. I got out of my scrap pile, and I had to go to the local scrap yard to get some pieces. I don't normally have this real big thick stuff hanging around. But this is the base pieces. I'll use a bottle jack to actually actuate it. The rollers themselves are being they're being welded up by a gentleman I work with. He's actually the welder in the shop at work, and he's significantly better at welding than I am. Because what I took is just chunks of Schedule 80 2-inch pipe, and then I ran 1-inch bar stock through it, and then use some washers to weld all that together and make a roller. But all that has to be real centered, real nice and neat, which is really kind of beyond my abilities, my skills to be able to get all that stuff good and centered. So he's welding all that together, but I use this to make the base. I still got to cut out a few more chunks and whatnot. I use it to make the base, and there'll be 3 rollers, the two bottom rollers that'll rise up and down. They'll be attached to this, and it'll push it up and down. That'll change the distance on the rollers. And the third one up here will actually have a hand crank on it to move it around. Not intended to do anything really, not like a true slip roller, but just something just to roll out the rings. I'm going to try and take the other rings I've already cut. I've got 6 or 7 more of them that are cut and quasi-rolled, and see if I can't flatten them out just a little bit and then send them back through and hopefully get rid of most of the Z-twist. But that's it for this week. Be going on vacation here in a week or two, and I hope to get some more done during that vacation. Thanks for watching.